This video is sponsored by AthleticCases.com. Basketball, baseball, football, or soccer, no matter what the sport, you guys can now rock your favorite player on the back of your phone. Use the promo code ZachLeap for 10% off your orders. Links are in the description box below. Oh, what is up, guys? It's me, Zach Lee, and I mean, what? I mean, okay. So a trade just went down between the Houston Rockets and the Phoenix Suns. But the Rockets have finally been able to get rid of the contract of Ryan Anderson like they've been planning to do for so many years. And in exchange, they got back a package that I think is better than they could have ever dreamt of. As Adrian Wojnarowski just dropped a bomb saying this: Houston has traded Ryan Anderson and DeAnthony Melton to the Phoenix Suns for Marquise Chris and Brandon Knight, league sources tell ESPN. Alright, so this package might not be amazing or anything like that. It's not like they landed a great player or a star level player, but they turned an overpaid, slow, powerless power forward who wasn't even getting any playing time on their roster into a young player with potential, maybe not star potential, but potential to be a really good role player on a team as long as he can cool down that hot temper he has in Marquise Chris. And by the way, Marquise Chris, now might be a great time for you to go back and start deleting some of those old posts you made. You know exactly which one I'm talking about, I'm just saying. And then they got Brandon Knight as well, who, while yes, he is also an overpaid player, as he is due around $30 million over the next 2 seasons. First off, that's not nearly as much as Ryan Anderson is being overpaid, as he's set to make around $40 million over the next 2 seasons. On top of that, Brandon Knight could actually be a useful player for the Houston Rockets. Knight was sidelined this entire past season after tearing his ACL over last offseason, which is probably why you haven't heard the name in a while or just completely forgot about him. But remember, there was a time when he was considered to be an up-and-coming point guard in the NBA. Bucks fans thought at one point that he was their point guard of the future, until they inexplicably traded him for Michael Carter-Williams at the trade deadline just because Jason Kidd thought Michael Carter-Williams reminded him of a younger version of himself. And then he got to Phoenix and Brandon Knight was alright. You know, he was nothing special at all, but he was alright, and that was mainly because he was sharing the point guard position with 2 other point guards in Goran Dragic and Isaiah Thomas, so it was harder for him to stand out. And then once Devin Booker started to develop, he started to come off the bench and then was also dealing with some injuries until ultimately he tore his ACL and missed all of last season. And now he's with the Houston Rockets, where he will be under the tutelage of James Harden, Chris Paul, and Mike D'Antoni, 3 of the greatest offensive minds that are in the NBA right now and that the NBA has ever seen. So with that in mind, I think he could become a very serviceable player for them and maybe have even sort of a rebirth in his career. And now if Chris Paul is ever forced to miss any more time dealing with injuries, they will have another body who at least is capable of somewhat filling in the massive void that Chris Paul will leave. So for the Rockets, this was a fantastic trade without a doubt. As for the Phoenix Suns though, Adrian Wojnarowski wasn't quite done giving us updates just yet, as he also tweeted out this: Anderson will be the Suns' starting power forward, and the front office will continue to pursue trade scenarios to bring on a starting caliber point guard before the start of the season. Now this is where I get kind of confused, because I would think that the Phoenix Suns would look to trade for a starting caliber point guard before they made this trade for Ryan Anderson, because they just traded away the only guy on their roster who was probably capable of manning the starting point guard in Brandon Knight for Ryan Anderson, so now they really don't have anyone to fill in that position, especially since they didn't have to worry about Ryan Anderson up and leaving anywhere. It's not like any other team was looking to trade for him. Also, this begs the question of what does this mean for TJ Warren, because like Wojnarowski said, Ryan Anderson will be the Phoenix Suns starting power forward, which was the role that TJ Warren occupied last season. And that guy for the past 2 seasons besides Devin Booker has been the Phoenix Suns' second best player consistently. And the answer isn't as simple as just now sliding him to the small forward position, since the Phoenix Suns just gave Trevor Ariza $15 million to fill that position, and not to mention they still have Josh Jackson. So do they simply bring TJ Warren off the bench now behind Ryan Anderson, or is he going to be the piece they use to get a starting point guard? And I think that's the most likely situation, that they do trade him in order to get a starting point guard, since starting point guards don't necessarily come cheap, and TJ Warren is a nice young trade piece. And out of the young players they have, he is the most expendable, I'll say. But keep an eye out for the Phoenix Suns, guys. They are not done making moves yet. They will make at least one more trade in the next couple of weeks leading up to training camp. Next up, I really don't report on news like this too much, but this was just so great that I had to share it. This is actually a pretty big deal, as Ben Simmons just saved himself. So over the summer, he made the mistake of getting involved with someone who carries the Kardashian curse. As we know, every athlete who gets involved with the Kardashians' career starts to deteriorate pretty rapidly, some even faster than others. So a lot of people were rightfully concerned when Ben Simmons started to get involved with Kendall Jenner. I personally even called for Philadelphia to hold some type of intervention for Ben Simmons in order to save him from himself and the mistake that he was making. But I come bringing great news today, as it seems Ben Simmons isn't crazy, and he knows there was no way he could carry this relationship into the regular season. So in order to avoid the curse, he called the relationship off before the season started. Yo, can we get a round of applause for this man right here, guys? He knew exactly what he was doing, had no intention of messing up his career or the season the Philadelphia 76ers are about to have. Like I said, can we please get a round of applause for Ben Simmons? And lastly for the day, this is just something that I found really interesting and cool to see, so I decided to share it with you guys, as pictures surfaced yesterday of DeMar DeRozan fully embracing the San Antonio Spurs. As first off, we have a picture of him practicing at the Spurs facilities, wearing Spurs attire for the first time ever, or at least for the first time that we've ever seen him wear Spurs attire. But that's not it. We also got a picture of him at Spurs practice again, this time standing next to none other than the Spurs legend himself, Tim Duncan, who is rocking that knee brace like no one else can. And that is just awesome, by the way. He was doing the same thing last year where he was helping with the team, still practicing. I know all of this, but just to see a legend still in there with the team even after he retires, practicing with and mentoring his younger teammates still, this guy has to be the greatest teammate of all time. And you know that he really has to care about his teammates, the team, and the franchise, the game itself, to not just be like, all right, I served my 20 years with the franchise in the league, so I'm out, peace, you guys take care, I'm out, you don't call me, you know, like a bunch of guys do. That's really dope to see Tim Duncan doing. And lastly, we have a picture of Greg Popovich and DeMar DeRozan having a conversation as well. And look, I'm just excited to see what DeMar DeRozan is about to do on his new team. I'm sure they're being traded from the Raptors, lit a huge fire under him. Now he's going to be playing with a chip on his shoulder. Anyways, that is all the news that I got for you guys today. Hope you enjoyed the video, and if you did, be sure to smack that like button and subscribe to the channel so you don't miss out on future news. But like I said, thank you all for watching, and until next time, I am out of here.